See if I can get even that guy. It's a frog. Dragging along with me. We are out today at Fort Ward on Bainbridge Island. It was a Endicott era coast defense fort, one of the last ones built, and it existed to protect the entrance to the Bremerton Naval Shipyard. Right over here is Agate Passage, which leads to Bremerton, and any vessels transiting through here would have to come right past the point up here, and theoretically could be hit. I don't remember right offhand what guns were out here, and I'm forgetting because, 3 hours sleep, but we'll find that out soon enough. Another interesting point is that during World War II, the fort had a listening post established, or radio receiver station, which was used in capturing the Japanese radio traffic. The United States before the war broke several of the Japanese diplomatic codes, and this is one of the sites where that radio traffic was intercepted and forwarded, I believe, to Washington, D.C. for decoding. So, history there from a couple different eras. As you can see, the air quality is absolutely horrible. Fires in California and Oregon, all smoke's blowing up here, but we're out here, so let's go have an adventure. So this looks like a small one, probably a 3-inch. Which would make sense because, wasn't going to be a lot of capital ships coming up here. Yeah, definitely a 3-inch. Battery Vinton. 2 3-inch model 1897s. Those are the same ones we saw at Flagler. Guard of the underwater minefields, price across Rich Passage.
That does not make a bit of sense. Because if they were removed in 1920 and shipped to France for World War II, that would have been 2 years after the war ended. So this shows where we are. We're down here. Bremerton Shipyard's there, so any vessels coming in, Endicott Passage is up there, would have to come through here and be hit from this. So apparently there's another fortification over at Middle Point. I'll have to go take a look at that. Wonder if those used to be dug out. This would have been the observation point. See the piping here would have been where telephone wires would have been run. So by triangulating between the various observation points in the multiple batteries, they could determine range and feed that to the guns. It's kind of grown up in the last, what would it be, 60, 80 years since this place was used. Well, and the guns were removed in 1918, 1920, so yeah, 100 years since this was an active fort, or at least an active coast defense fort. Similar but slightly different variation of what we've seen in the other forts. Typical of the Endicott era. They'd reuse the design over and over again with minor changes. I was reading that these, let's see if I find a way down there. These pedestals were originally designed to go up and down, and the idea being that they could turn the gun 90 degrees, so like this, and then lower the barrel into that notch there, which would make it a harder target to hit. Unfortunately, they turned out to not be terribly reliable, and so most of the mechanisms were filled with concrete and to hold them in the up position long before they passed out of service. Welcome to Battery Vinton.
That are so hot.
Yeah. Don't fall off, that would hurt. I bet that hurt.
I was like 7, so, kids are rubber.
Yeah, they bounce well at that age.
So I just got right back into the game.
So you can see the stanchions in the ground here. This was dug out at some point, and those doors are probably human size. The 3-inch guns used single-piece shells, single-piece ammunition, and so there wasn't separate powder and charge like you see in the bigger 10 and 12-inch guns. And so they would have just stored the shells in there, brought them out by hand. I don't know what the entire round weighed, but the shell itself was 15 pounds, and hence these were sometimes known as 15-pounder guns. So it was, it would have been a manageable size. Since the hill here isn't as big as it is at places like Flagler, they had to dig down to use the same design. is it. Ventilation blower. Oh, the switch is still here. That's interesting. Got flowstone or stalactites, or whatever you want to call them, in the ceiling, which is where the concrete has dissolved and started to flow. There's a definite example of some flowstone. Got a vent pipe in the ceiling here. Remnants of the electrical. There's another vent pipe. So assuming that these are identical, which I'm sure they are, that's what that pipe we just saw coming up was. Avoid tripping over myself here. There's the ventilation pipe there for the third room. has a main electrical distribution box. And the remnants of something. Don't know what that is. The holes there suggest there may have been conduit going through it. That's that vent pipe we saw. It's plugged. Good sized tree there. Now this one still has a door. Oh, that's probably what we saw in the last one. That's graffiti. These will be fruit. Just there on the light box, and I'm going to guess it's a thermostat, which would make a certain amount of sense if these are indeed shell rooms. Magazines are very sensitive to temperature and humidity. Can adversely affect the stability of the explosives, which, as you might imagine, makes for a bad day. So we've got a door here. Note the ring there. Lock mechanism, steel doors. This is probably what we saw in the last lower chamber. Ring there for pulling it shut. Here's the vent pipe. This is that vent pipe we saw from the outside. Yeah, well, I mean, everything out there was exposed, or barely. Well, it raises an interesting question, though. Because there was that area that was filled in. Was that just this, or did it go down even further? Though, as close to sea level as that is, I think if they went down any further, it'd be full of seawater pretty quickly. The light's pretty cool, too. Oh, the brown one? I can do that. There's a three-eyed version of them down in the bottom level.